Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn Ease English. Today's story isn't about miracles or magic, it's about something simpler. Small steps, tiny actions that seem to do nothing at first, but later change everything. So sit back, relax, and let me tell you a story. A story about Ali, a young man who discovered how one small habit, one tiny decision, can reshape an entire life. Ali lived in a busy city, full of noise, traffic, and endless routines. Every morning he woke up late, scrolled his phone for half an hour, skipped breakfast, and rushed to work. He dreamed of improving his English, getting a better job, and maybe starting a YouTube channel one day. But somehow, days kept passing, and nothing changed. Every night he told himself, "Tomorrow I'll start." Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month, and months turned into a quiet regret. One evening, while scrolling through motivational videos, Ali heard a line that made him stop. "You don't need to take giant leaps, just take one small step." Every day he smiled bitterly. "One small step? That can't change my life," he thought. But the voice continued. "Consistency beats intensity. A single drop of water can carve a stone, not by power, but by persistence." Something in that line stayed with him. The next morning, instead of sleeping an extra 10 minutes, Ali got up and decided to do just one small thing. He opened his notebook and wrote one English sentence. Just one. It felt silly. He wanted to write more, but he stopped himself. He remembered the rule: small steps only. The next day, he wrote 2 sentences. On the third day, he recorded himself saying them aloud. His pronunciation wasn't great. His voice sounded strange. But he didn't stop. Within a week, he noticed something new. His fear of starting was gone. Those small steps had cracked the shell of laziness that trapped him for months. One small step often creates another. After 2 weeks of short English practice, Ali began waking up 15 minutes earlier. He made tea, listened to an English podcast, and repeated words he heard. At work, he started greeting his colleagues in English. "Good morning. How's your day going?" Tiny phrases, small confidence boosts, like pebbles creating ripples in water. Soon, those small ripples reached other parts of his life. He began organizing his table. He started saving a little money daily. He even began walking for 10 minutes after dinner. Every small step connected to another, like a chain of progress. But small steps aren't always easy. After 3 weeks, Ali felt bored. He thought, "What's the point? I'm still not fluent. My life looks the same." One night, he threw his notebook aside. He was about to quit. But the next morning, while scrolling his phone, he saw a short quote image that said, "Remember, grass doesn't grow while you watch it, but it grows every single day." He looked at his notebook again. Maybe his progress was invisible, like grass, growing quietly. He smiled, picked up his pen, and continued. That day, he didn't practice for an hour. He just spoke one sentence confidently. "My small steps are working." Months passed. Ali still practiced English daily, sometimes for only 5 minutes, sometimes for 30. He watched movies with subtitles. He spoke to strangers online. He started a small WhatsApp group where people shared one English voice note each day. It was small, but powerful. His confidence grew, his accent improved, and people began asking, "Bro, how did you learn English so well?" Ali would smile and reply, "Just small steps, every day." 1 year later, Ali looked back at his first notebook. On the first page was a shaky sentence: "I will learn English." Now, on the last page, he had written a complete speech for his office presentation in fluent English. He didn't notice the change day by day. But when he looked back, the difference was enormous. He finally understood the secret of transformation. Big changes are built, not born. Let's pause the story for a second. Do you know why small steps work so well? It's because your brain loves progress, but hates pressure. When you try to make big changes, your brain feels. There's a famous rule called the 1% rule. If you improve by just 1% each day, you'll be 37 times better in 1 year. That's not a fantasy. It's math. Because small progress compounds like interest in a bank. That's how small steps create big changes. Ali froze. A year ago, he could barely say a few sentences in English. Now he was being invited to speak in front of others. He smiled, nervous, but ready, because this wasn't luck. It was the result of hundreds of small, invisible days. When he stood on stage and said his first words, he felt his voice tremble, but his heart stood tall. After the presentation, his manager said, "That was inspiring, Ali." "What's your secret?" Ali replied softly, "Small steps, big changes." Later that night, he opened his YouTube app and saw a video suggestion titled, "Train Your Mouth to Speak English." He smiled. It reminded him of where it all began. He whispered to himself, "Maybe it's time to help others start their small steps." So remember, big changes don't come from big actions.